Welcome, listeners, to the first video on this channel, Stories from Starry Skies. If you're wondering what this is all about, I encourage you to watch the introduction video to this channel. There I discuss everything about this channel, why I'm making these videos, and why I'm telling you these stories. So, get ready for the first installment, the first story. I hope you found a comfortable place to relax, close your eyes, and enjoy. The warning alarm was never gentle, but then there was nothing gentle in the military. Strig landed his hand on the response button without even looking. He didn't need to. It was routine now. The last 10 days all started like this. Awakened at 3 bells by the urgent need of the computer 2 decks below. The training from boot camp, still fresh in his mind and body, propelled him out of his bunk and into his uniform without much conscious thought. As he headed out the door, he looked longingly at his toothbrush. When was the last time he'd had the luxury of brushing his teeth in the morning? The UMK Balthazar was an old supply ship that was kept hovering between beloved antique and antiquated rust bucket by the continuous efforts of the crew within her hull. It was from a well-built class of ships, and the Balthazar was a particularly good example. Strig went down the hallway, found the stairs, and made his way to the computer room. The ship was mostly quiet. Shift change was still 2 hours away, and a peaceful calm had settled throughout the ship. He could faintly hear the rustling from the galley as breakfast was being prepared, but somehow that just added to the cozy comfort of knowing that he was one of the few stirring at this hour. He entered the room, saw the flashing alert on the screen, and just like every other day, proceeded to pull up the logs and get to work. As he suspected, it was yet another minor error somewhere that had been triggered, something that did not need anywhere near this level of alarm, yet somehow kept getting him out of bed every morning. He was happy to see that at least this morning, the error was not in a section of code that he had even touched yet, which put his mind at ease that he was somehow contributing to the problem. He settled into his chair, started scrolling through the lines of code, finding the section that he needed to isolate. Once he had established the parameters of the error, he pulled the code into a test environment and started to make the changes to smooth out this little hiccup. It wasn't difficult work, it was tedious, but it was well within his skill set to solve. When he had signed up to be part of the military, this was not what he had in mind. But it was important. It was the type of thing that kept everything running smoothly. Not glamorous, but necessary, which probably described most of the work of everyone around him. He was wrapping up his work about 2 hours later when Megan came walking in to start her shift. She looked over, seeing him staring at familiar screens. "I think it likes you," she said. Strig cringed at this thought, knowing that she was just messing with him. "You know, those old computers were purposely built to hover right on the edge of self-awareness. I don't think it's too far-fetched to think that you might not be the only one setting preferences in the system, if you know what I mean. This got a little laugh out of him. At least she was trying to lighten the mood. If someone older had been in the room, it probably wouldn't have been a laughing matter. The struggle over sentient computer systems and the ethics around that and the struggles and wars fought over it were a sensitive subject to those who had actually lived through it. He wraps up his new code, takes it out of the test environment and into the real world. It doesn't take long. Replaces the old code, does one last test, and he's getting ready to head out. His commanding officer walks in, walks over to Megan, but says loud enough that he can hear, "Was he curled up with that thing again this morning?" "Yes, sir." Strig felt the tiredness in his bones, but he didn't feel like taking this ribbing, as gentle as it may be. The officer said, "You need to get yourself a real girlfriend. Megan here might be interested." "Not me, sir. The kinks in my system are beyond the reach of mere mortal men." That got a laugh out of the officer. But this banter was all too chipper and ribald for Strig at the moment. He needed coffee. He didn't say anything as he got up to head to his first official duty of a new, very long day. As he went throughout the day, he couldn't help but wonder if there was a larger problem that he was expected to solve, that he just wasn't seeing it. And until he fixed it, he would continue to be the butt of jokes. It wasn't terrible. It was expected, but it was annoying. The next morning was much the same. Another alarm. Another quiet walk. Another isolation of code. And an easy fix. The next day was the same, but this time the problem was a little harder, a little trickier. It wasn't just one little piece of code. It was quite a few that were all behaving badly and interacting with each other, but still nothing that he couldn't handle. It just kept him there a little later than usual. As he was wrapping up, more and more people started to drift into the room, more than usually were here. Just as he's ready to execute the final code, the screen goes blank and is replaced by a pink screen with a big pixelated heart and a computerized voice that said, "I love you, Strig. Don't stop. I love you, Strig. Don't stop." Strig pushed his chair back in confusion. What was this? The room erupted in laughter as the heart continued to blink on the screen. Strig's brain slowly came out of problem-solving mode, and he realized that this had all been an elaborate prank. But his tired brain was not amused. His commanding officer walked up and put a hand on his shoulder. "Strig, you have been the most tenacious tech crew we have ever had. There were some of us who wanted to keep going to see just how long it would take you to break, but we just couldn't keep it up. We've had techs actually come and sleep in the control room. Others who have tried to smash the poor control panel to bits, and most who just stopped getting out of bed and learned how to shut off the alarm. But you were up and out on the problem every single morning. It's no wonder this computer loves you, and we all know we're in good hands." They give him a piece of cloth cut into a pixelated heart, which he still has with him to this day. And he keeps it to remind him of those times when, even though everyone on the crew talked so fondly of keeping old Balthazar afloat and on mission, they were really talking about the love and care and concern they had for each other. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this first exploratory story into the world of the characters that I am creating. Let me know what you think, particularly about the length. I'm going to start out keeping it about this, somewhere around 15 to 20 minutes. Let me know if you would like some longer stories, maybe some stories that are sequential or connected, or maybe just 2 or 3 short stories all put into one video. I hope this helped you relax. I hope it helped take your mind off of things for a while and put your mind among the stars. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you for another story in just a little bit.